Morning friends, happy Friday, how the heck you doing? We had the emotional support poll drop yesterday. You know, the one that tells everyone in the UK, and we're expected to believe this, that everyone in the UK thinks Harry and Meghan are terrible and that Charles, William, Kate and Camilla are absolutely amazing. Yeah, we know where you get your pollsters from, people. To get to the point, Martin, King Charles is shocked and unsettled over Meghan's photos of Diana's grave. It's all over media, in various platforms and various titles. The problem with this story is Meghan never posted that photo. And it's ironic that Charles's chief of staff was sacked on the very day that Meghan posted her photos on her Instagram reel of her, Harry and the children at Althorpe. That was the day that Charles realised that his chief of staff, his right-hand man, has basically been an absolutely manipulative pain in the bottom for the last 10 years. Anyway, there's no photo. Meghan knows what to do and knows what to do. She's intelligent and has a high EQ too. Sorry, struggling to get my words out today. She lives by her heart and she speaks from her heart. She's not going to do anything crass. And there's no photo anyway. So Charles, be as unsettled as you want when your fake poll shows that you are really popular with the public that don't actually want you to be here.
Not this nonsense again. We've already established that Meghan never posted pictures of Diana's gravesite. I don't know how many times we have to literally say it. How is it that magazines, tabloids, newspapers are carrying this absolute nonsense? Meghan posted pictures of her kids, Harry, walking through a three-line park, and they've equated that to her posted pictures of Diana's gravesite. We have eyes. Yes, we know that the Rangers royal family fans are stupid people. We know they believe every single lie that is posted or said about Meghan. They even create some of their own. But to blatantly lie like this it just begs belief for me. No wonder some people think that Meghan and Harry should literally sue for this, because this is beyond the pills, going beyond anything now. Now they're claiming. Sources tell them that King Charles and Queen Camilla were angry that she posted pictures of Diana's gravesite. Did it happen? No. So clearly there were no sources. We already know that there are no sources. You could say a source told me. I could literally say a source told me Kate and William did something, blah, blah, blah. That's it. That's all. I'm not obligated to tell you who my sources are. And that's what these silly clowns in the media are relying on. The fact that they could just lie and claim sources said something sources didn't say. Because, again, Meghan didn't post pictures of Diana's gravesite. I honestly hope it stops. But I mean, I know it's going to pass, but it's just going to be another thing and another lie and another lie. They lie against Meghan continuously. I really, honestly, personally, do not know the solution to it. I don't know if suing them is going to do anything. I'm not sure. So personally, I actually don't know what. But a stop needs to be put to this. This is beyond harassment now. This is something else. Something else entirely now.
I want to talk about the media's incessant hard-on for Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, and how she chooses to not only curate her Instagram feed, her social media feed, but also how she chooses to spend her summer holiday. This particular headline, which is run rampant, this particular publication is from Fox News, of course, fraud news as I refer to it because you'll know what it is. It's taking aim at the fact that Meghan posted on her Instagram reel, or what do you call it, grid, 5 days ago, carousel of photos of her husband, Harry, Prince Archie, and here, Princess Elizabeth, just enjoying their European, time abroad. Caption is summer holiday, and this particular photo here is what has gotten people up in arms. Not all people, same-minded people like myself, and I'm sure many of you weren't bothered by this, but what is just sending people into a spiral is that this photo right here, showing Harry and Prince Archie ahead, Princess Elizabeth there, quote, walking on a grassy path of hedges and large trees. The photo is believed, again, believed, not actually confirmed, believed to be taken at Althorpe, the Spencer family's ancestral estate. In the photo, as I just mentioned, is where people are saying the late Princess Diana, Prince Harry's mother, was buried. Now, lest we not forget, Meghan is the wife of the son of the late Princess Diana. She 100,000% got the okay from her husband, and even if she didn't, it's fine, it's her life. I'm sure he doesn't monitor her social media like that, to share this in her carousel of photos. And she knew that media outlets, fraud news, have a discourse about it. Every photo, in fact, that she shares, people, have an issue with because the kids don't show their faces, which it's, again, their kids, their choice. And you all know who I'm referring to, the regular people, that one really bloated white girl who has a bad bleach job, who's like seriously obsessed with her, literally has a hard-on for her. We don't name names here. Anyways, I say all this to say, I'm having a lovely summer. I hope you are too. This photo is so beautiful, as is the entire carousel of photos of them abroad. Like, if there are two people I want a summer in Europe with, aside from like Kris Jenner and Oprah Winfrey, those yacht photos, I mean, fabulous. These two would be top of the list. They're probably so fun. They're probably laughing at all the BS that surrounds them, and it's just keeping them relevant and keeping, you know, them in the headlines. That's all.
The British tabloids have a massive problem now that Meghan is not under the control of the royal family's narrative and how they want her to be perceived. And Harry neither, nor their children. And so they have to abuse her from a distance. They have to look at things she posts, things she does, things she says, and then they run it through a fine-tooth comb. They rip out context and then treat her as if she is a villain of the entire world. This is the same exact thing that they did to Princess Diana, except Meghan's has like a racial undertone in it, right? So when Meghan posted this picture, she let the world know that not only does Harry still love her, not only do their two children are, you know, real, obviously, and also have a part of Diana's legacy, because that red hair Harry has and them two babies have, that's the Spencer side. So it infuriates the tabloids because they'll never, ever get this close to any of these four ever again. So they use whatever they can to villainize her. And this week, Meghan publishing a picture on what would be public to, you know, open to the public when Althorpe Manor is open. Anyone can stand in that exact spot and take those same pictures. She wrote that Meghan's vulgar act at Diana's resting place vindicates William's suspicions, because we started getting stories after about 2 years after Harry and Meghan left that it was all a big ruse, you know, planned by Meghan. You know, she somehow got her friend to take a picture of her with a dog filter on Snapchat, and then got her to post on Instagram, and then got a man 3,000 miles away to scroll Instagram and got him to stop dead in his tracks when he's seen that woman in the dog filter, and then message his friend and ask who that is, and then go look at her Instagram and then ask him to give her her number and set them up on a date. Like, that's a lot of plotting by Meghan. Like, she had to have, like, I was going to say telekinesis, but that's moving things with your mind. Like some sort of psychic ability. Like, she is so powerful. These people should be scared of her the way that they act, with how powerful she is. She's a god to these people, the way they react and talk about her. But I digress, because they can't control Meghan's narrative. They have to attack her to make William and Kate look better. Usually William, because this article was published in William's section of the Daily Mail. Williams, of all peoples. It's about Meghan, but well, it says, you know, William too, because they have to get Meghan's name in there for anybody to read anything about William. And she lies like she breathes, like it's pathological is what it is, and it's insane. And Callahan posts a number of lies in her article, claiming that it angered William, it angered the general public. It was apparently a new low. What? That it was somehow an act of defiance because Charles and Harry probably got pictures with Charles and the grandkids, but they agreed not to post them. Charles knows he can trust Harry, obviously, and then noted that William and his wife and his kids probably visited Diana, but no photos were ever released. Really, Maureen? So what's this? Emotional William and Kate take the kids to see Diana's grave to mark her 56th birthday. They invited a professional tabloid photographer from the Mirror to document it instead of just taking private photos. but this is more classy. This isn't vulgar. This isn't exploitation. This is a beautiful family moment captured by a countrywide tabloid. But sure, Meghan is the vulgar one.
Happy Friday, squaddies. Thanks for tuning in. Look, let's be totally real for a second. The British media has officially lost its mind over a mother taking her kids to pay respects to their own grandmother, turning a basic, personal family moment into a full-blown royal crime scene just to farm clicks. They want us to believe Charles is shocked and William is livid, but regular people see right through the fake outrage. Diana is Archie and Lilibet's literal blood. Her brother, Earl Spencer, hosted them on his own land. And while the firm has spent 30 years monetizing Diana's memory with official photo ops and statues, the second Meghan shares a quiet moment of her children connecting with their late grandmom, these unnamed palace sources clutch their pearls and call it tasteless. It's pure hypocrisy and manufactured drama, plain and simple, because the tabloids aren't actually mad about a photo. They're furious that Harry and Meghan are honouring Diana's legacy on their own terms, instead of feeding the royal press machine. The funniest part about this whole story is watching people act like Meghan committed some huge crime when all she did was visit Princess Diana's grave with her husband. Seriously? That's the emergency? That's what we're supposed to be outraged about? Come on. Harry isn't some random tourist stopping by for a photo opportunity. That's his mother. Diana wasn't just the people's princess, she was his mum. If Harry wants to visit her resting place, he doesn't need anyone's approval. And if his wife stands beside him, supports him, and shares a small piece of that moment, how does that suddenly become front-page drama? You know what this reminds me of? That one neighbour who sits behind the curtain all day, watching everybody else's house instead of cleaning their own. Meghan breathes and somehow it's breaking news. Meghan smiles and suddenly there's a panel discussion. Meghan posts a picture and before you know it, anonymous sources are apparently speaking on behalf of half the royal family. At this point, the outrage feels less real and more like a TV show that refuses to get cancelled. And here's what gets me laughing. These same people keep saying Meghan wants privacy. Then the second she shares one carefully chosen moment from her own life, they scream, "How dare she?" So which one is it? Don't show anything, show everything, or are they only happy when they get to decide what she's allowed to share? That's the game. Meghan isn't letting anybody else hold the camera anymore. For years, other people tried to tell her story. Headlines told you who she was, commentators told you what she was thinking, anonymous insiders claimed to know every move she made. Now, Meghan presses upload when she feels like it. That's a massive change, and some folks clearly can't handle it. It's like they lost the remote control and now they're angry because somebody else changed the channel. And honestly, regular people understand this better than anyone. We've all met that person who gets upset the second you start doing well without them. The minute you're happy, they suddenly have opinions. The minute you're peaceful, they start looking for problems. Not because you did anything wrong, but because they can't stand seeing you move on. Sound familiar? That's why this story connects with so many people. It isn't really about one photo. It's about somebody refusing to let critics run their life. Instead of sitting around answering every headline, Meghan is living her life, spending time with Harry, raising their kids, working on her own projects, making her own memories. And somehow that bothers people more than if she were actually involved in drama. Think about that. A peaceful family moment has been turned into a national crisis by people who weren't even there. That's not Meghan creating chaos. That's chaos chasing Meghan. The louder the headlines get, the calmer Meghan seems to become. And maybe that's the part they can't figure out. They expected endless reactions, endless explanations, endless apologies. Instead, she's just living. Nothing frustrates critics more than someone they can't control. And that's exactly why these stories keep coming. Not because Meghan has done something outrageous, but because she stopped asking for permission to live her own life.
One thing you've got to give Meghan credit for, she stopped letting other people write the script for her life. And some people are still struggling to accept that. Think about it. There was a time when every story about Meghan came from royal insiders, friends of the palace, sources close to the situation. Basically, everybody except Meghan herself. Isn't that funny? Imagine somebody else constantly speaking for you. They tell people how you feel. They explain your marriage. They explain your family. They explain what you were really thinking. Meanwhile, you're sitting there like, "Excuse me, I can actually talk." That's exactly what changed. Meghan grabbed the microphone. Now if she wants to share a family picture, she does it. If she wants to stay quiet, she stays quiet. if she wants to celebrate Harry, support a charity, launch a project, or disappear for 3 weeks. That's her choice. And somehow, that's what has people losing sleep. You ever noticed how some folks only like privacy when it means they get exclusive access? They'll tell Meghan, stop complaining. She stops talking. Then they complain she's too quiet. She shares one photo. Now it's, why did she post that? At this point, they're moving the goalpost so much they need wheels. Regular people know this game. We've all dealt with that one person who suddenly gets uncomfortable the moment they realize they can't control you anymore. When you're asking for approval, they're happy. The second you stop asking, now you've got an attitude. Now you're difficult. Now you're the problem. Same person, different level of independence. That's why this whole thing feels familiar. Meghan isn't following somebody else's playbook anymore. She's running her own. And let's be honest, that changes everything. Because once you control your own story, people can't put words in your mouth as easily. They can't decide what your next chapter should look like. They can't keep introducing you to the world through anonymous whispers and dramatic headlines. Now they have to react to what you actually do. That's a much tougher job. And here's the part that really makes me laugh. Some headlines act like Meghan posting about her own life is some shocking act of rebellion. Really? Millions of people post family moments every single day. Birthdays, vacations, weddings, Sunday lunch, pictures of their dog sleeping in the weirdest position imaginable. Nobody calls that a constitutional crisis. But Meghan posts one meaningful moment, and suddenly it's treated like the biggest emergency since someone ran out of tea bags. Make it make sense. The truth is, people are hardest to control when they're happy with themselves. Meghan doesn't seem interested in asking critics for permission anymore. She's busy building her own life, supporting her husband, raising her children, and choosing what parts of that journey she wants the public to see. That's normal, that's healthy, and maybe, just maybe, that's the part some people never expected. Because the old script had Meghan constantly reacting to everybody else. The new script, she writes it herself. Everybody else is just reading along.
Now let me ask you all something. If these anonymous stories are actually true, what is everybody supposedly so upset about? Seriously. Meghan isn't holding daily press conferences talking about the royal family. She isn't camping outside palace gates. She isn't picking fights every Tuesday morning. She's over in California, living her life with Harry, raising Archie and Lilibet, working on her own projects, showing up to events she cares about, and enjoying her family. So, where's the scandal? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like people are getting worked up over somebody minding her own business. That's wild. You ever notice how the happiest person in the room somehow ends up bothering the most miserable people? We've all seen it. You're laughing, you're doing your thing, you're not bothering anybody, then out of nowhere somebody starts acting like your piece is somehow offensive. You didn't even mention them. That's the energy this whole situation gives me. And here's the part that really cracks me up. These headlines love using mysterious characters. A source said, an insider revealed, someone close to the palace claims. Man, these anonymous people deserve their own Netflix series at this point, because they're apparently everywhere. They know everybody's feelings, they know everybody's thoughts, they know who's furious before breakfast. Meanwhile, the people they're supposedly speaking for haven't actually said a word. Come on now, let's keep it real. If someone lives thousands of miles away, has their own home, their own career, their own family, and they're still dominating conversations without even trying, maybe they're not the one creating the drama. Maybe they're just impossible to ignore. There's a difference. Regular people understand this better than anyone. Sometimes your biggest flex isn't arguing back. It's moving on. You get the new job, you build your own business, you focus on your family, you stop explaining yourself, and somehow that's the thing that annoys certain people the most. Not because you attacked them, because you proved you didn't need them to be happy. That's a hard pill for some folks to swallow. And let's not forget something else. For years, we were told Harry and Meghan would disappear. Remember that. We'll never hear from them again. They'll be irrelevant. They'll fade away. Well, if that's true, why didn't you headlines keep showing up every other week? If someone is supposedly irrelevant, why is every photo, every appearance, every project treated like breaking news? That doesn't sound like irrelevance. That sounds like attention people can't stop giving them. Here's my takeaway. Meghan isn't spending every day talking about the palace, yet the palace orbit, and especially parts of the tabloid world, still seems to circle back to Meghan. That's why these stories keep landing, not because Meghan appears to be chasing the spotlight, but because wherever she goes, the headlines seem determined to follow. And honestly, living your life while other people keep writing essays about it, that's got to be one of the biggest signs you've already moved on. Let's be honest, squaddies. I don't think this story is really about one photo.
The photo is just the excuse. The real issue is much bigger than that. Here's what I think is driving all this noise. Meghan left. Not only did she leave, she didn't disappear. Now that's the part some people still can't wrap their heads around. Think about it. Usually when somebody walks away from a system, the expectation is simple. They'll come back, they'll fail, they'll regret it, they'll need us. But years have gone by, and none of that has happened the way people kept predicting. Instead, Meghan and Harry built a life on their own terms. They've launched projects, they've partnered with major companies, they've supported charities, they've raised their children away from the royal spotlight. That's just reality. So when I see another dramatic headline over one photo, I can't help but laugh, because it feels like someone shouting, "Look over there." Meanwhile, everybody's asking, why are we making such a big deal out of this? Let's bring this down to everyday life. Imagine you quit a job, you move to another city, you start your own business, you're doing okay, you're paying your bills, you're smiling more. Then your old workplace keeps talking about you. They've got opinions about your Instagram, opinions about your holidays, opinions about what you're wearing. At some point, you'd probably say, "Y'all don't have work to do over there." That's exactly the vibe. The funniest part, nobody controls Meghan's calendar anymore. Nobody tells her when to speak. Nobody tells her when to stay quiet. Nobody gets to approve what she posts or where she shows up. That's called being an adult. Most of us call that normal life. But somehow when Meghan does it, it becomes breaking news. Make it make sense. And here's another thing. The internet has changed the game. Years ago, if somebody wanted to shape your image, they mostly controlled the newspapers and TV coverage. Now, people have their own platforms. They post their own photos. They tell their own stories. They speak directly to the people who want to hear from them. That's not unique to Meghan. Millions of creators, business owners, and everyday people do it every single day. The difference is, Meghan happens to do it with the whole world watching. That's why these headlines keep feeling louder than the actual events. Because once someone stops waiting for permission to live their life, they're a lot harder to box in. You can write opinion pieces, you can quote another mysterious royal insider, you can predict doom for the 100th time, but none of that changes what's actually happening. Meghan wakes up the next morning, still living in California, still with Harry, still raising Archie and Lilibet, still working on the next project, still making her own decisions. That's the part that keeps throwing people off. The headlines can be as dramatic as they want, but headlines don't control somebody's life. Choices do. And from where I'm sitting, Meghan made hers a long time ago. The rest of the world is still trying to catch up. Thank you all for watching. I'm your host, Miles. Love you all. Have a blessed weekend, stay out of trouble, or at least don't get caught. God bless, and I'll catch every single one of you in the next episode. Peace.